You're watching Metallicomania, and I'm your host, CJ, and, well, another album review, another album praise, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it an album praise because I don't review any bad albums. I refuse to review bad albums. Um, yeah, I don't like talking shit about records. I don't. If I like it, I review it. If I don't, I shut my mouth. So, mostly this is just a fan review series. This episode today is going to be Satan, Earth Infernal. What to say about this one? Album sounds like it was recorded straight out of the 80s, early 80s, like British style. I don't know if this band is from Britain, but it sounds, yeah, Newcastle. From Britain, man. I absolutely love the old sound of the older sound of British heavy metal. And this album is like brand new, but it sounds like it was recorded in the 80s, and it's just such a fascinating album. It has the new age British heavy metal sound that's so intoxicating and energizing. It's got the guitars are really not that heavy, and it's kind of like the production of like old school, the old like Tigers of Pantang, Judas Priest. I did listen to their first album as well, and I do like that album as well. It has that no modern production on this record. It's just production is imperfectly perfect. As that's basically saying that the album isn't like the mistakes are there, the production pops are there, and it just sounds so human almost. It sounds human, not like some of the other stuff that comes out nowadays that are more polished with it. They're more polished. This is like the raw version of British heavy metal that, you know, all the great albums like Iron Maiden's self-titled first record. And yeah, it's definitely along the lines of that style instead of like the really polished stuff that came later. One of the best albums to come out of this year so far, honestly. It's just seems just so inspired, and can't find the word for what I was gonna say. The guitars are not really heavy, but have the sound of early 80s metal. The less like really dynamic range guitars, and more of like the really less distorted guitars that you would hear on early. You don't really see this kind of album release nowadays. It's more like every band always has this modern production to it. Like every album that comes out has like a really modern production, and it's less of the blemished old style that you would hear. Also, talk about the drums on here too, like very loud and primitive drums that kind of fit that whole mold too. Nothing mechanical. That's another great I have a lot about stuff is like really like if it's mechanical it gets really repetitive, but this is like has like more of a I can't even talk right now about standout song. Let's go to standout. Every single one of these songs are standouts, as this album is an album you would listen to in full, honestly. It's 47 minutes, it's really long, but that's how British heavy metal has always been. It's always been really long. You have some songs that are usually over 7 minutes. Sometimes the band does an album with only 7 songs or 6 songs, but some of the songs are really long to like really put out the length. And not this album. It has a pretty big song list, but yeah. No favorite song. I don't really have a favorite song. No production, no modern production is on this one, and the fans love that. Like, I know I appreciate it more if it's not like uh, edited absolute shit. Honestly, that's a. But I still like the albums that do that. But like, I really do like this crap. Like, I like this album. That's amazing that way. It's amazing the way it is. Um, it's perfect the way it is. Honestly. I satisfied. Here we go. Yes, I'm satisfied, heavily satisfied with this album, and probably will return to this album in the next coming years. Because, yeah, you don't really see a classic production sounding album come out in 2022. You don't see that, but you see it with this album, Satan's Earth Infernal. You see it with this album. It's a very confusing record for it to come out like this and sound like this. You never see this kind of album released nowadays, and it's just so refreshing to see it. So that's what I think of this album. I think it's pretty much absolutely perfect all the way through. There's nothing bad about it. The production is imperfect, but is amazing that way. It would kind of be more of a letdown if it was more, if the pops and the stuff was taken, the mistakes and stuff like that. I'm not saying mistakes, but like blemishes were taken out. It would be less good, honestly. It's better this way. It's always been better this way. I go back to albums from a lot of 80s bands and enjoy it for that. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for not uploading for a long time. Some like responsibility bullshit got in the way, like normal. That usually happens. It usually happens. I usually get responsibilities thrown on me from shit I usually have nothing to do with, but that's how life is, I guess. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys liked it, and I will return with maybe another album review this week, or maybe a or of the albums. I don't know, but yeah, stay tuned.